Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a trap that almost every manager falls into at some point, the dreaded one-size-fits-all leadership style. It's so easy to think having a signature style is a strength, but honestly, relying on just one approach is a fast track to team burnout.
Let me ask you this. Do you lead a brand new hire exactly the same way you lead a 10-year veteran? Put like that, it sounds crazy, right? I mean, if you manage a nervous newbie and a totally autonomous veteran exactly the same way, you're practically begging for high turnover. But here's the thing, so many leaders do exactly this. They manage based on their own personality instead of what the employee actually needs in that moment.
And that brings us to the Situational Leadership Framework, developed by Paul Hersey and Hersey-Blanchard. The big aha moment here is that effective leadership, it's not about your personality at all. It's about adjusting your dials, how much direction and how much support you're giving based entirely on the specific situation and the exact person standing right in front of you.
To make this super actionable, we're going to walk through this 4-step framework as a tutorial today. By the end, you'll be able to apply this directly to your own team's everyday tasks.
All right, let's jump in. Step 1, identify task. Remember, leadership is task-specific. Moving right along to Step 2, diagnose readiness. This is all about the D1 to D4 scale. So, when we're diagnosing readiness for a specific task, we're looking at a unique combo of competence, meaning their actual skill level, and commitment, which is their motivation and confidence. This breaks down into 4 clear levels. First, you've got D1, the enthusiastic beginner. They don't have the skills yet, but their motivation is sky high. Then, reality hits, and they usually drop to D2, the disillusioned learner. The task is harder than they thought, and motivation plummets. Eventually, they push through to D3, capable but cautious. They have the skills now, but maybe they lack the confidence to fly solo. And finally, they hit D4, the self-reliant achiever. High competence, high commitment, the total package.
Which brings us to Step 3, match style. We'll be choosing between S1 and S4. Let's look at some real workplace examples to see how to actually choose the right style. Meet Julia. She just graduated and landed her absolute dream job at the Coastal Protection Authority. She is so motivated, thrilled to be there, and ready to prove herself. But she has absolutely zero experience with the internal processes or the agency's specific software. If you asked her, she'd say she's incredibly excited but secretly terrified of messing up. She is your classic D1, an enthusiastic beginner.
So, put yourself in her manager's shoes. Which approach do you take? Do you give her total autonomy to figure it out on her own? Or do you give her step-by-step instructions? If you just sit her at a desk and say, "Have at it, I trust you," well, that enthusiasm is going to vanish in about 5 minutes. She'll just feel abandoned. Total autonomy does not work for someone with zero experience.
What Julia actually needs is Style 1, directing. This means you tell her exactly what to do, how to do it, and when it needs to be done. It's highly directive. You're giving her daily checklists, crystal clear expectations, and close supervision. And listen, you might be thinking, isn't that micromanagement? Actually, no. It's exactly what a D1 needs to prevent costly errors and build a secure foundation from day one.
Now let's look at Samantha. She's been an auditor for 6 months now. She started out just like Julia, super enthusiastic, but she's hit what we call the learning dip. Internal policies keep changing, her work keeps getting bounced back from minor errors, and she is totally discouraged. She has real skills now, but her commitment has completely crashed. She's at D2, the disillusioned learner.
So how do we get Samantha through this slump? If you just keep barking strict orders like a dictator, she's probably going to quit out of sheer frustration. But at the same time, she isn't quite ready to be left entirely alone with these complex policies. The secret here is shifting away from one-way commands and opening up a two-way dialogue to rebuild that lost confidence.
Samantha needs Style 2 coaching. You absolutely still need to provide clear direction because she's still mastering the ropes. But now, you really need to crank up the supportive behavior. You take the time to explain the why behind those changing policies. You invite her questions, you listen to her vent a little, you're actively selling the task to get her back on board, building her confidence and her commitment at the exact same time.
Moving on to scenario number 3. Picture a veteran data analytics team. These folks are brilliant with data, but you've just asked them to present their dashboards directly to the C-suite for the very first time. They know their stuff backwards and forwards, but they are terrified of public speaking in front of executives. Their competence is sky high, but their confidence? Highly variable right now. They are solidly at D3, capable but cautious.
The crucial thing to realize here is that they do not need you to teach them how to do the math. What they need is style 3, supporting. You drop the heavy task instructions and focus almost entirely on support. You facilitate brainstorming sessions, ask open-ended questions like, hey, what obstacles are you seeing? And you share the decision-making. Your only goal here is to boost their confidence so they can execute the skills they already have.
Finally, let's look at Braden. He's been a wildlife enforcement agent for 3 years. He absolutely loves his job, knows the laws inside and out, and is intensely self-motivated. He requires zero handholding. Basically, he's your star performer, a textbook D4, the self-reliant achiever.
For Braden, you're using style 4, delegating. You set the parameters, agree on the big picture goals, and then, honestly, you just get out of his way. Over-directing or hovering over a D4 is a massive mistake. It's just going to drive them crazy. You hand over the day-to-day decision-making and problem-solving. You're still there as a sounding board if he needs you, but you inherently trust him to get it done.
All right, that brings us to step 4, implement and adjust, the dynamic nature of leadership.
You see, employee development isn't some static thing. It's a snapshot in time, not a permanent label you stamp on someone's forehead. An employee might start month 1 as a D1 requiring intense direction, hit D2 by month 3 and need some serious coaching, move to a D3 requiring support at 6 months, and by the end of the year, boom, they're a D4 and you can delegate fully. As they grow and their needs change, your leadership style has to constantly pivot to match them.
In the real world, this whole process is incredibly fluid. Especially in today's remote and hybrid environments, you might actually find yourself using multiple styles on the exact same day. Think about it. You might use a delegating style for a senior developer in Berlin when you're talking about system architecture, but then literally 2 hours later, you might have to switch to a directing style with that exact same developer because they're learning a brand new compliance protocol they've never seen before.
Ultimately, leadership is like a flexible tool belt, not a rigid personality trait. As the saying goes, the right leadership style depends entirely on the readiness of the person being led, not on the preferences of the leader. The absolute best leaders out there, they don't force their team to adapt to them. They adapt themselves to serve the growth of their team.
So take a second and think about your own team right now. Who is currently super frustrated because you're giving them too much direction on a task they've already mastered? Or, on the flip side, who's feeling abandoned because you handed them autonomy they just weren't ready for yet? I challenge you to take this 4-step tutorial, diagnose their readiness today, and change your leadership style tomorrow.